March 1842 Epistle. An Epistle of the 12 to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in its various branches and conferences in Europe. Greeting. Beloved brethren, we feel it our privilege and a duty we owe to the great and glorious cause in which we have enlisted, to communicate to you at this time some principles which, if carried into effect, will greatly facilitate the gathering of the saints, and tend to ameliorate the condition of those who are struggling with poverty and distress in this day when the usual means of support seem to be cut short to the laboring classes, through the depression that everywhere prevails in the general business mart of the civilized world. Our situation is such in these last days, our salvation spiritually is so connected with our salvation temporally, that if one fail, the other necessarily must be seriously affected, if not wholly destroyed. God has made us social beings. He has endowed us with capabilities for enjoying each other's society, and it is our duty to bring those powers and privileges into exercise, so far as we can obtain, and for this it is our duty to strive by all lawful and expedient measures within our reach. While we remain in this state of existence, we need food and raiment, habitations and society, and without these our enjoyments must be greatly limited and the real object of our existence diminished, if not wholly destroyed. Though the saints should possess all the common gifts of the Spirit of God and yet remain destitute of those comforts so much needed for the sustenance of our bodies, they would be comparatively miserable. But when they arrive at the state of perfection, and are clothed upon with the more special gifts and power of increasing the widow's oil and meal, or of receiving their food from the ravens like Elijah, they will not need to bestow so much attention on every trifle of the passing moment, as they now do, and until that period arrives, they will recollect that to be in the exercise of the fullness of spiritual blessings, they must be watchful and careful to provide things honest in the sight of all men, for the sustenance and comfort of those frail perishable bodies. That we may be instruments in the hands of God of thus promoting your present and future, temporal and spiritual welfare, we write you at the present time. Many of you are desirous of emigrating to this country, and many have not the means to accomplish their wishes, and if we can assist you by our prayers and our counsels to accomplish the desires of your hearts in this thing, so far we will rejoice and be satisfied. You not only want to emigrate to this section of the earth, but you desire also to have some laudable means of comfortable assistance after you arrive here, and this also is important. How, then, shall these things be accomplished, and your souls be satisfied? We answer by uniting understanding and concert of action. You all, or most of you, have trades or different kinds of business to which you have long been familiarized, and in which you would like to continue for the purpose of procuring a subsistence. And a great proportion of your occupation is such that no employment can be had in this city or vicinity. For instance, there are no cotton manufactories established here, and many of you know no other business. You want to come here, and, when here, want to continue your labors in your accustomed branches of business, but you have no means to get here. And when there are no factories, and yet factories are needed here, and there would be a ready market for all the fabrics which could be manufactured. Now comes the concert of action. If the Church will arise unitedly, if the brethren will individually feel that great work of the Lord is depending on themselves as instruments to assist in carrying it forward, and will unite all their means, faith, and energy in one grand mass, all that you can desire can speedily be accomplished. A short time only will elapse before you yourselves will be astounded at the result, and you will feel that your desires are more than realized. When the saints are united, no power on earth or under the earth can prevail against them. But while one acts for himself, many, very many, are in danger of being overthrown. God has promised all things to those who love him and keep his commandments. Then why be afraid that one should get a little more than another, or that one should gain for a little moment what another might lose? When Jesus has promised that the faithful shall be one with him, as he is one with the Father, and shall possess all things in the due time of the Lord, not by stealth, not by force, not by the sword, but by the gift of the Father, through faithfulness to his commands. And the more they shall suffer, while they work righteousness on the earth, the greater shall be their reward, the more glorious their kingdom, and the more extended their power, when they shall arrive in the celestial paradise. Knowing and feeling these things as we do, and having respect unto the recompense of reward to be revealed hereafter, regardless of all necessary privation and labor to accomplish what our Master has given us to do, and desiring not to possess the kingdom alone, but that all the honest in heart should be united with us in this great and glorious work of building up Zion and her stakes. We call upon you, dear brethren, to unite with us, all in one accord. To do what? To do the very things you desire should be done, to convey you to the place where we are, and then put you in possession of all the means you may need for your support, so that you may enjoy the fullness of the blessings belonging to the sons and daughters of Zion's King. Had we means, we would not ask your aid. We would gladly send the ships of Tarshish to bear you across the great waters. We would bring you to our homes, to our firesides. We would provide you habitations, lands, and food. When you arrive among us, our hearts are large enough to do all this, and a great deal more. But we have not the means. We have to labor for our own subsistence, as well as attend to those things which are laid upon us of the Lord, and which concern the whole church as much as ourselves. It is not the will of heaven that anyone should be put in possession of all things without striving for them. Where much is given, much is required, and he who has but one talent must be as diligent in the use thereof as he that has 10, or he will lose his talent and his blessing. And it becometh him who hath but 1, 5, or 10, to appropriate it in the most economical manner possible, or he will not have enough to bring him hither, and that he who hath but 5 pounds may have enough and to spare to him who hath but 1, or in other words, to help the brethren to accomplish with a little what otherwise would require much more than they command, is the object of this epistle. Had we the means, we would send vessels of our own, laden with flour, meat, fruits, and all sea stores necessary for the comfort of the brethren on the water, so that they would have nothing more to do than to go on shipboard and land at New Orleans. From thence we would take them to our steamers, and bring them to this place, for this is the best place for the saints to stop at for the present. There may be other places where individuals might have the prospect of adding at once more rapidly to their pecuniary interests than they could here, but we can only say that it is the will of the Lord that the saints build Nauvoo, and settle therein, or in the vicinity, and we know assuredly that those who give heed to every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord will be richer, eventually, and not far distant, than those who may seem to prosper more by following their own inclinations. Brethren, we wish not to control you or your means. It is not for our peace or interest. Nay, rather it is a source of labor, trouble, and anxiety, to have aught to do with the pecuniary business of the church, which we would gladly avoid could we do it, and we stand guiltless where God hath placed us, and for this reason we desire to make such arrangements as will most tend to leave the business in your own hands, or in the hands of those whom ye shall select, men of your own acquaintance, in whom you can repose confidence that they will execute their trust in righteousness, and that our plans may be understood by you and carried into execution. We have sent unto you our beloved brethren, Elder John Snyder, the bearer of this epistle, and other epistles also previously written by us to you. And we beseech you, brethren, to receive him as the servant of the Most High, authorized according to the order of the kingdom of heaven, and assist him by all lawful means in your power to execute the mission entrusted to him. For great events depend on his success, but to none will they be greater than to yourselves. Our authority for thus sending Brother Snyder to you is found in the Book of the Law of the Lord, page 36, as follows. Nauvoo, December 22nd, 1841. The word of the Lord came unto Joseph the seer. Verily thus saith the Lord, let my servant John Snyder take a mission to the eastern continent, unto all the conferences now sitting in that region, and let him carry a package of epistles that shall be written by my servants the 12, making known unto them their duties concerning the building of my house, which I have appointed unto you, saith the Lord, that they may bring their gold and their silver and their precious stones, and the box tree and the fir tree, and all fine wood to beautify the place of my sanctuary, saith the Lord. And let him return speedily with all means which shall be put into his hands. Even so, Amen. In this revelation the brethren will discover their duty in relation to the building of the temple of the Lord in Nauvoo, and the Nauvoo house, and we will call upon them with united cry to give heed unto the things written, and help to build the houses which God hath commanded, so that Brother Snyder may speedily return with means to strengthen the hands of the laborers, and adorn and beautify the tabernacle of Jehovah. Brethren, while you are thus preparing to send up your offerings to this place, if you will act in concert with our well-beloved brother, Elder Parley P. Pratt, and regularly constituted authorities of the Church in England, and collect as great an amount of cotton, linen, and woolen goods, silks, cutlery, hardware, etc., 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 even all the varieties of goods that might be useful in this country, and which can be obtained by the brethren at this time of moneyed scarcity, and forward the same to us by Brother Snyder or your own agent in company with him, or otherwise, and at other times, we will pay you for those goods in lands, in or out of the city, in houses, cattle, and such kind of property as you may need, and with those goods we will purchase lands, etc., flour, meat, and all necessaries for a sea voyage, that can be had cheaper here than in England, and charter ships and forward the same to England, or such places as emigration may require, and bring back in return a shipload of emigrants at a cheaper rate than they can now emigrate, while at the same time those who remain can continue to collect and forward merchandise as before, which will give us the means of continuing our purchases here, and keeping ships passing and repassing, and of building manufacturing establishments ready for the brethren when they arrive in our midst. While the great depression of the moneyed institutions continues as it is now, the people are compelled to resort to all laudable measures to effect those changes of property which are necessary to accomplish their designs in removing from one place to another, and from one kingdom to another, and by a faithful execution of the plans proposed above, much, very much, may be effected in emigration without the aid of cash, or with very little at the most, and goods may be obtained to advantage for houses and lands which the brethren may have to dispose of, and in payment of debts due them, when they would be impossible for them to sell for cash at any price, or get their pay for debts due them even at a great discount, and thus thousands and tens of thousands may be made to rejoice in this land of plenty, while, were it not for a concert of action, they might remain where they are for years, or never have the opportunity of appearing among us, on this side of the great waters, until the morning of the first resurrection. But brethren who want to see you here, we long to see all here who want to be here, and none others, for we desire the increase of those who love God and work righteousness, that Zion's cords may be lengthened, and her stakes strengthened, though the country is free to all who will abide her laws, and we have no disposition to cast out any from our midst who will submit thereto. For many particulars in relation to the times and course of emigration, and many other important items connected with the general and particular interests of the Church, we would refer you to our formal epistles, and to enter into a particular and minute detail of all items referred to in this epistle would be impossible. Brother Snyder will enter into the subject more minutely, and with the assistance of the presidency among you will unfold the subject so that no one need misunderstand. The brethren need not to suppose that this thing is of our own imagination, simply, or that the result thereof, if fully carried into execution, will be of doubtful character. We have been guided by the Spirit of the Lord in our deliberations concerning the matter, and have been instructed by the prophet of the Most High, even Joseph the seer and revelator for the Church, whose instructions to us are as the voice of the Lord, and whose admonitions we ever regard as true and faithful, and worthy of confidence of all who profess the gospel of Jesus Christ. We have been with him in prosperity and adversity, in sickness and health, in public and private, in all situations where men may reasonably associate with each other, and know that his words are true, his teaching sacred, his character unsullied among men of truth, and that he is what the Church acknowledged him to be, a man of God, and the spokesman of the Most High unto his people, and we bear this testimony unto the world, calling on all the honest in heart to uphold him by their faith and prayers, that he may live long, enjoy much, and accomplish great things for the kingdom, which he has been the honored instrument of establishing on earth in these last days, even that he may lead a great multitude into the celestial kingdom. That the saints may enjoy the teachings of the prophet, those teachings which can be had at this place, so that they may go on from knowledge to knowledge, even to perfection, they want to come up hither, and that the plans before suggested may be facilitated. Let some individuals of capital come immediately and build factories, individuals who have the means, understand the business, and are capable of superintending the concerns thereof. There is every natural advantage at this place for facilitating such an order of things. Water, wood, and coal in abundance, and it only wants the hands of the laborer to bring them forth in form suited to their several uses. And while the gold and silver is secreted by the hands of unprincipled speculators, let us go forward and accomplish without gold or silver that which might be more easily and expeditiously done with. Let the brethren ever remember the admonitions we have so often given, that Zion is not to be built upon without labor, fatigue, and trial of the faith of many. That when John saw the great company on Mount Zion, he saw those who had come up through great tribulation. He also saw those who had endured great tribulation after they had arrived, and before the kingdom was completed. The saints of this day are of the number John saw, and those only who are willing to endure tribulation as good soldiers, without murmuring, will eventually find their names enrolled in the Lamb's book of life, and obtain an inheritance in the holy city. To all those who are desirous of sharing in the poverty and sufferings incident to new countries, and the children of the kingdom, we would say, Come up hither, and help us to bear the burden, and you shall share in the riches, glory, and honors of the kingdom. And those who are not willing to suffer afflictions, losses, crosses, and disappointments with the people of God, may as well stay away, and be destroyed, as to come here and perish. For perish they must who cannot abide a celestial law, and endure to the end in all meekness, patience, and fulfillment. Inasmuch as Elder Levi Richards has asked for counsel, we would recommend him to return to Nauvoo as soon as circumstances shall render it convenient. Praying that you may be blessed with wisdom, intelligence, and perseverance in every good word and work, so that you may accomplish your desires and help roll on the great work in which you have enlisted, we subscribe ourselves, your brethren and fellow laborers in the kingdom of patience. Amen. Brigham Young, President. Heber C. Kimball. William Smith. Orson Pratt. John E. Page. Lyman Wight. Wilford Woodruff. John Taylor. George A. Smith. W. Richards, Clerk. City of Nauvoo, Hancock County, Illinois, March 20, 1842.